Yeah, so Neuralink is currently being sort of framed as, oh, it's for people that are quadriplegic or have traumatic brain injuries, things of that nature. But Musk elsewhere has been quite open that he sees a much larger commercial opportunity than people who are permanently disabled. Um, and promotes the product as saying things like, oh, you'll be able to access your phone just with your mind and all of this. So from statements he's made and other documentation, it's quite clear that Neuralink is not going to just stop with enabling disabled people to use electronic devices. The idea is to sort of eventually, I think, usher in the next era of what smartphones are right now, right? So we had the computer, revolution, personal computer revolution. Everyone has a personal computer, to everyone also has like a mobile phone that is a computer, essentially a smartphone. And the next step for that they've had set up for a long time, but they've had problems with adoption of it, is wearables, wearing your smartphone and smart devices, essentially. And then after that, the goal is to have it move from being on your body to within your body.
And the organization that has been pushing this forward is the World Economic Forum. They want to fuse our physical, our biological, our digital worlds all into one. And the way that they do this is by implanting the technology into your body. Now, does that sound familiar? Because it should, especially when we look at Elon Musk with Neuralink. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Let's take a quick look at what I recently posted on X in response to this recent meeting. This is an annual meeting, and Elon Musk was there talking about Neuralink. And I even quoted this. I said, I really don't see how any of this is different than what the World Economic Forum has been pushing for years. Everyone suddenly forgets about all of that because it's Elon Musk pushing this. The sheep truly are blind to their own slaughtering. Because if we actually look at this event, this was one of the clips from it. And we have Neuralink could reanimate bodies by restoring signals. Neuralink has the potential to help tens, maybe hundreds of millions of people. Now, initially, when we heard the stories about Neuralink, it was to solve a lot of these problems. For an example, for those with spinal cord injuries, it could bridge signals from the brain to reconnect the body, allowing for reanimation. Think of it like repairing a severed cable. If we can bypass the damage, the body can function again. Now, listen, am I against, major revolutions where we start to solve problems like this? No, I'm not. The problem that I foresee with this is that it's not just focused on those with these types of injuries. They want this to be ubiquitous. They want everyone to have this chip in them eventually. And we could clearly see that by all the documentation from the World Economic Forum, the same organization that Elon Musk is apparently against, even though he continues to push their agenda. Check it out.
I know Neuralink just got FDA breakthrough designation for blind sight, a week and a half before this meeting. One thing that I've heard you talk about that I thought was so interesting when I think about neurodiversity or neurodegenerative disease is this idea of imagine if someone like of the intellect of a Stephen Hawking was able to communicate more efficiently, how much more would society writ large have benefited from those insights? And so when I think of people with neurodiverse conditions, I always think that they have all of this amazing potential to potentially be unlocked, and maybe this implant could be a digital bridge to that.
Absolutely. So I think it can help a lot of people, like really ultimately help tens of millions of people, maybe hundreds of millions of people. I should say also there's potential going beyond the brain to, like, if somebody's got a sort of spinal cord injury, that being able to transmit the signals. So, like the ideal, I think what, most people that have lost the connection between their brain and their body would like is to reanimate their body.
Sure.
There are some approximations of that where you can animate, say, a robot suit or a robot arm or something like that. But I think most people, if you ask them, like, what would you prefer? Oh, I'd like my body to work again.
Sure.
So that, if provided the neurons are still kind of there, it's certainly physically possible to shunt the signals from the motor cortex past the point where the damage has occurred, to the neurons that then interface with your muscles and your arms and legs. If you think of it just like an electrical and communication system, like if you severed like some Ethernet cables, what would you do? Well, you'd bridge the signal. Okay, great. The same thing can be done with the human body. Is bridge the electrical signals and the communication signals. So you've got sensors and actuators, and the signals, the bidirectional signals for sensors and actuators are being interrupted. And so if you shunt the signals, you will be able to reanimate the body.
Now, this sounds great on paper, just like everything else, right? They always try to make you believe that these things are absolutely incredible. And I'm sure that it's great for a few, when we really think about it. But the issue that I have with this is it doesn't just stop here. Even over here, we could be in a simulation now. They could live in simulation, which we might be in right now. So if so, I'd just like to applaud these simulators on the excellent work they are doing. Now, outside of that, we also have Neuralink will be a game changer for neurosurgeons. Neuralink will be giving neurosurgeons an incredibly powerful tool like the leap from bows and arrows to jet planes. With this advanced technology, they'll be able to treat complex brain issues far more effectively, helping countless people. Again, it all sounds good on paper. We're already part cyborg, but bandwidth limits human AI symbiosis. Again, there you have it. They want us to fuse with AI. This may sound strange, but increasing our bandwidth with digital devices could help align AI with human will. We already have a digital tertiary self, phones, computers, apps, but our connection to them is slow, averaging less than 1 bit per second. Enhancing this connection could enable a more effective human-AI symbiosis, reducing risk as AI advances. How is this going to reduce risk, right? Having AI, all of a sudden be tapped into the human brain, into the human body. All of a sudden, AI goes rogue and now it's controlling humans. Like, how is this going to reduce the risk? And by the way, remember what we've been, seeing around Elon Musk. For an example, here we have inside Cortex, their giant new AI training supercluster. This is being built at a Tesla HQ in Austin. And if we actually look at this, remember that this is all tied back to X. Elon Musk X is changing its privacy policy to allow third parties to train AI on your post. That's right. They literally want to use your data to train AI. They're using your data against you to train AI. Anyone that's jumping onto the X platform. Remember that he bought X for freedom of speech, right? But then all of a sudden he hires a World Economic Forum global leader, and then all of a sudden is enforcing KYC restrictions. They want to know your name, your this, that, whatever. And now they're using your data to train AI. This is insane. And by the way, this is all a part of the Everything app, right? They want everything to be on X. Very interesting. Now, also over here, I have the full clip of Whitney Webb really kind of exposing what's going on here. Check this out.
Yeah, so Neuralink is currently being sort of framed as, it's for people that are quadriplegic or have traumatic brain injuries, things of that nature. But Musk elsewhere has been quite open that he sees a much larger commercial opportunity than people who are permanently disabled. And it promotes the product as saying things like, you'll be able to access your phone just with your mind and all of this. So from statements he's made in other documentation, it's quite clear that Neuralink is not going to just stop with enabling disabled people to use electronic devices. The idea is to sort of eventually, I think, usher in the next era of what smartphones are right now, right? So we had the computer, revolution, personal computer revolution. Everyone has a personal computer, to everyone also has like a mobile phone that is a computer, essentially a smartphone. And the next step for that they've had set up for a long time, but they've had problems with adoption of it, is wearables, wearing your smartphone and smart devices, essentially. And then after that, the goal is to have it move from being on your body to within your body. And that's where Neuralink comes in. And so they're currently in human trials, but there's other brain machine interfaces, which is what Neuralink is, that are much farther along in the clinical trial sense than Neuralink, and started a year or two ago, putting these brain chips in people. So this is something in terms of a market that is more advanced than Neuralink. Neuralink is just the best known one. And obviously there are risks there. By allowing someone like Elon Musk, who is not just developing Neuralink, of course, he is also a contractor for U.S. military and intelligence agencies, access to your neurological data, your thoughts, essentially. Obviously a lot of risks there. And when you consider also that he's developing, or has developed this satellite internet functionality, Starlink, which works with Space Force, works with the Pentagon, and all of this, it's assumed that Starlink and Neuralink will link together, right? And there'll be some sort of interface there, which no, I don't want my brain connected to the same network that the Pentagon and an intelligence agency is using. You might as well give the billionaires your brain in a bag. And that's essentially how I sort of see the brain chip thing being going forward. And ultimately, it comes down to reality manipulation, which if you look at some of the big architects of this space, Henry Kissinger and Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, wrote a book about AI and essentially how it's going to be used for managing how people perceive reality. And of course, if you can control how people perceive reality, you control their behavior. And so, between, AI manipulating us in terms of manipulating our preferences or the information we read through censorship, but also through producing the content that we read online through ChatGPT and other things. You also add the AI brain chip component to it later. The goal is to have, our reality be managed in unprecedented ways by whoever controls the AI, because it's not nominally it would be the AI controlling those things, but someone programs the AI and gives it its objective functions. And those, of course, are Silicon Valley firms. And some of them may seem like independent companies, but probably the most well-known one at this point, OpenAI, which produces ChatGPT, is essentially an extension of Microsoft at this point. And so we can assume that the biggest AI algorithms and AI companies are going to at one point or another be tied to the biggest of the big Silicon Valley companies, meaning, Google or Amazon or Microsoft or, ones of that nature. And essentially all of those companies have the same ties that Musk has to the military and to intelligence agencies, because these big tech companies contract for them. And at the same time, they dominate political donations to both parties in ways that are very significant. So you could really argue that Silicon Valley is the de facto governing force in the United States today, which is quite disturbing when you consider some of the connections of those CEOs, most of which actually were subpoenaed as part of the JP Morgan Jeffrey Epstein lawsuit that was settled, to sort of give you, your audience an inkling of who these guys are. And Epstein, of course, himself was a big transhumanist guy, very interested in brain chips and brain science and all of this. So there's definitely a group of people here that have particular agendas they want to advance with this whole brain chip thing, but at a more broader level. And you see this with Musk too, in terms of his desire to turn Twitter into WeChat, is to essentially harvest as much data from people as possible, because the new adage, right, is data is the new oil. And so if you can control the vast majority of data, then you're, like the oil baron, the data baron of the new era. You're the Rockefeller of the data era, right? Right. So there's essentially monopolies being formed here, and Elon Musk wanting to create the everything app. Obviously, the everything app plus brain chips and whatever is going to produce so much data that it will keep him an oligarch for the rest of his life.
And this is exactly why he can't be trusted. As we really look at what's going on here between the harvesting of your data to utilize it to train AI, combined with the fact that he continues to push Neuralink along in the disguise that it's good for you, that, oh, we're helping people, we're doing this, even though it's feeding the elite agenda, still is very concerning to me. And remember, right, even with like the OpenAI concerns, he was one of the first backers of OpenAI. Regardless of if it changed over time or not, it feels as though a lot of these things that he continues to warn us about, or, oh, you know, this isn't a good thing, that's not a good thing, he's always behind the scenes with it. So it's very concerning to me that even now, today, more than ever, Elon Musk seems to be one of these individuals that everyone looks up to and says, oh, we could trust him. It's good that he's, you know, the one pushing AI ahead, and instead of this person or that person or this group. You got to remember that this is someone that was once a part of the young global leaders at the World Economic Forum. You also have to remember that regardless of his stance on the World Economic Forum, he continues to push their agenda forward and even hires individuals from the World Economic Forum for X and other companies. So as we look at Elon Musk, the big question is, can you trust him? And I think that the big answer is no, you can't. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.